Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is All in the Charts. If you appreciate the content, which every single one of you do, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Drop me a comment. I don't know where Juan is. And click the bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday. How the hell are you? How's everybody doing? The sun is shining. Here in South Florida. It's been pretty miserable, the weather. It's been cloudy and rainy, and we're entering that peak hurricane season. Here, I'll actually share it with you. We're ending August. Can you believe this is the last week of summer? We got Labor Day weekend coming up. Peak hurricane season graph. Here we go. I remember looking at, here we go. So this will give you a pretty good depiction. So this is what I'm referring to here. You can see as we start to get into the beginning, I'm all about graphical data. I don't care what it is. I always felt like meteorology, I forget if I've shared this with you guys, I always felt like meteorology would be a really fun area to learn. You never know what the future holds. If I ever voluntarily choose to go back to school, you never rule that out. I think I'd go back for meteorology. But anyway, this is a graph, and it's showing that the peak runs into early September, and then once you hit that peak approximately September 10th, you start to dwindle down. So we're really starting to ramp up. There's no hurricane activity right now, knock on wood, in the Atlantic, so we can only hope for the best. But yeah, the weather's been pretty miserable, but very, very nice today. Tomorrow looks like it's going to be nice, and then the rest of the week looks a little spotty. So welcome in, everyone. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. We got a lot of important things to talk about. We had a weekly close. And the thing that I've been stressing to everyone, I actually had tweeted this out today, and we'll get into why I feel this way, but given how bullish we closed out the week, I am all for a boring week. I would love for this week to be uneventful. I don't need price to go extreme to the upside. I certainly don't want it to go extreme to the downside. If we just sort of close out where we're at right now, we're setting up beautifully going into September. And as much as I'm not anticipating anything significant to develop in the month of September, like I've been stating with you, doesn't mean we can't go up in price. Just nothing significant in terms of a new all-time high. It's that fourth quarter. I keep talking about the fourth quarter, October, November, December, where you're really going to see Bitcoin start to move, create a new all-time high, and then you're going to see altcoins starting to really move going into 2025. But let's get into the weekly action first off. Now, actually, before we get into the weekly price action, this is why I really don't need price action to do anything this week. Because this 2-month chart that we've spoken about, now again, for all of you who would like to geek out with me, I will be live streaming this Saturday for the monthly and 2-month close on the Bitcoin chart on Saturday. So I'll go live, I don't know, maybe approximately around 7 o'clock or something like that, you know. This is going to be our Saturday night evening together. I hope you guys can join me. But we're going to take a look at the all-important 2-month chart, and we're going to ask ourselves the question what the formation of the candlestick is telling us. We'll look at price indicators. Right now, if we were to close around this level, beautiful, beautiful. It tells us with a high degree of conviction based on the formation of that candlestick, the low is in. We're not going lower, okay? If this candlestick on this high a time frame prints, it's going to tell us the bottom is in, okay? That's why I don't need this week to be exciting. I need it to be uneventful. I want this week price action to be boring. I would love to close the week relatively where we opened the week, okay? I don't need significant upside. But let's get into what we can assess on the Bitcoin Weekly. And this is not the chart I want. I apologize. All my charts seem like they're getting fucked up. Oh, okay. This isn't the chart I want either. Sorry I'm jumping around on charts, guys. Guys, who is new to the live stream? Is there anyone, by the way, while I'm finding the right chart here, Juan, welcome in. Mila, you're welcome. Glad to have you. Is there anyone new to the live stream? Anyone from the Twitter space who's checking me out? I don't know what the hell's going on here. Okay, perfect. All righty, let's assess the current price action. I don't know why I'm going with that accent. Ooh, I like facts over feelings. Casper to the motherfucking moon. You can spell that out. I'm not gonna ban you for spelling out a curse word. Not on this channel, unless if you're doing something very vulgar and consistent. Okay, so let's take a look at current price action here. So the 64 to 66,000. I don't know why the hell are these lines gray. Why did I have these gray lines here? I don't know. I do red for resistance and green for support. For some reason, I have gray lines here. It's missed on me at the moment why the hell that's the case. But you can see some major areas of price confluence here, at least from a weekly perspective. I don't like this chart. I'm sorry to keep jumping around. I am not a fan of this chart. I don't know what... This is not the chart that I'm looking for here. I guess it is. We're going to work with it because these really aren't the areas of price confluence I was looking at, kind of looking at the 12-hour. Now, what I was saying is what I wanted for the month of August, okay? And again, the August candlestick closes out on Saturday. I want price to close above where we open that 2-month candlestick. Okay, and I believe it's 62,700. So if we look at this 2-month candlestick, it opened at 62,676. Yes, so 62,700. Now, why is that? We want the 2-month candlestick to print green. It doesn't matter the size of the body. Obviously, the larger the size of the body, the more bullish it is. But we just, for the purposes of what is bullish for us and indicating a bottom, okay, more than likely, we just need the body green. We want the body green, okay? So what I am theorizing, I shared this on a space the other day, we are going to close the month of August between 62,700 and 63,800, okay? That's really where we want to close. You should not, this is the 12-hour chart. I guess we'll start with the 12-hour chart like we typically do. Again, my general expectation on what I wanted to see was consolidation in here, and consolidation further up here. I said slow and steady wins the race. For the months of August and September, I'm not expecting significant price action to the upside. Should it bother you that price is breaking below 63.8? No, it should not bother you. You've got to keep the higher time frame perspective that since we bottomed down here, when Peter Schiff was taking victory laps, what have we done? We have been doing nothing but forming higher lows. Right? That's what you want to keep an eye on. I would suspect, and I suspected it when we were up here at 63.8 because it seemed like too strong of a move without a pullback. I would suspect this territory is in fair play. Anywhere between 61.8 to the low $60,000 range, it's very possible price could wick down into this range and then resume its uptrend. Keep in mind, what are you doing the whole time? You're building these higher lows, right? So just don't lose that perspective. We're not going to be green and up only. There are some things that I just recognize intuitively, and sometimes when I say it out loud, it's the realization that not everyone thinks that way. It's not green and up only. We need to have some red days and allow things to cool off. But that's really what you want to watch for. Now, why is the weekly close so bullish? We'll just stay on this view, I guess, or this view here. That's fine. And we might readjust these areas of price confluence. I am not liking what I have drawn here. I'm not a huge fan of how I came up with these. I don't know if I drew this on a 2-week or I don't know. Regardless, let's look at the price indicators. The first thing I would alert your attention to is the stochastic RSI. Now, we've spent a great deal of time on this channel talking about the significance of the stochastic RSI when it gets above 20 and it triggers after it's been below 20. Tends to let me know because the way this freezes up. Unbelievable. Just looks like I'm frozen. Okay, hopefully I'm with you guys. Hopefully someone will drop me a comment and let me know because I don't know what the hell's going on. Okay. What we want to see beyond the confirmation of the 2-month, beyond the confirmation of the 2-month candlestick, okay? What we want to see is we want to see further confluence on the weekly and 2-week. And the one way we can get confluence on the week and 2-week to have really strong conviction that we're on the precipice of a strong impulse. Make no mistake, hear what I'm saying. A strong impulsive move to the upside. Well, we can get that strong conviction by seeing a stochastic RSI bullish confirmation on the weekly, which we have at the moment, and the 2-week, okay? They've both been below 20 and now are beginning, in the case of the weekly it already has, in the case of the 2-weekly it hasn't yet, get above 20, okay? Once both of those signal above 20, it's really giving us a strong confirmation of bullish turnaround here. Now, if we take a look at the MACD, again, we're leveling out here. We're leveling out. So long as we have a decent week this week, we could have a doji, we could close where we open, which would be perfectly fine. This MACD here is going to flatten and begin to want to curl back up, which would be very bullish for price action. And then if we take a look at the RSI, guys, not a lot of engagement on the thumbs up. Apparently, you do not like me as a content creator. You have to express support. It's just the way YouTube grades me. You have to show support if you want me to continue doing videos for you guys and for this knowledge to get spread to other people out there to help them out. You have to hit the thumbs up button. It's not a hard concept. So one of the things that I've shared with you that we're going to be keeping a close eye on is this descending area of resistance here on the relative strength index. I don't know why I have a blue circle here. Oh, 54. Yeah, I think 54 was the key area. So one of the concepts that we spoke about was that if we actually study the history of Bitcoin's price action, what we see is when the RSI on the weekly has broken above 70, it can go back below 70, but you don't want to break 54, because if you break 54, that in the past has spelled some significant downside in price action. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, since we saw this drop in June 24, is the bottom in at 49? The downside price action that this was telling us, is it in now? Or could we have further downside? Well, one of the things that's going to help our view there, we've got to begin, it's very simple, guys, very basic. It's like reading a price chart. These are all lower highs, okay? We need price action to begin to invalidate those lower highs. What that's telling us in layman's terms is, if we begin to invalidate those lower highs, and by the time we hit, in general fashion, when we're up at 85 to 92,000, we got to take this guy out, else we're going to have a negative divergence, okay? We're going to have a lower high on the RSI while we have a higher high in price action. If we can get those higher highs to come in on the relative strength index, that is telling us that there's a lot of strength behind the move on that impulsive movement up in price. If we get a negative divergence on the RSI, it's a huge caution flag that it's less of a strong move and we can experience some sort of a correction. Now, as soon as negative divergence presents itself, it's the same thing as bullish divergence. it's not automatic, and it's not a certainty that it's going to play out. It's a warning, okay? It's a warning. So this is something we're going to be watching very closely. But the reason I'm so bullish, on this weekly close is, first off, just look at the formation of the candlestick. We pretty much closed near the highs of the entire week. We closed above a key area of price confluence here at 63,800, which I have it marked at 64,000, but 64,000, 63,800, whatever the case is. We closed above that. We closed at 64,262, and we've got this cross going on with the stochastic RSI above 20. So very, 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 very bullish. And again, it's setting us up pretty for this 2-month close. Not enough people, I think, are talking about the 2-month close. Remember, the 2-month is where we saw the gravestone doji, and now we're in the midst of forming a candlestick that could tell us with conviction the bottom is in. The downside volatility that this candlestick showed us could be over, okay, in a matter of 6 months here. Let's get to immediate price action. So, as I covered before, we routinely take a look at this 12-hour chart. Routinely take a look at the 12-hour chart. Not too much to say going on here. I mean, we've had a nice strong movement up. MACD's looking healthy. Stochastic RSI looks fine. Relative strength index. We look fine. Really want to start to try to push above 70. That trigger line on the RSI is at 70. Want to try to push above there. But again, as long as we maintain relative price levels in here, we're completely fine. Let's take a look at some other charts. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance and see if it's telling us anything recently new. What is happening? I don't know what's going on with my charts. Here we go. I don't know what that was. Yeah, so we're still in this rising wedge formation. It's still a rising wedge. And, a lot of people who don't do technical analysis, if I were to redraw a line like this, they would say, oh, you're just making stuff up. No, actually, here's the thing. There's more recent price data. So what that does is it causes us to reevaluate the chart and ask us if a pattern is still present or not. In this case, even though we have to redraw it based on emerging price action, the pattern is still present. It's still a rising wedge. So this is just, to me, this is a waiting game. And I think it's one of the fallacies of this, not the fallacy, but it's one of the struggles of this market is people remaining patient. People remaining patient. If there's anything that I could encourage you to do right now, it's to remain patient. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to try to be as excitable as I can possibly be these next five-ish weeks. But things are just not going to get super exciting until the fourth quarter, okay? So, and the other thing I would add to that is there's no reason that the playbook couldn't play out differently. That's why it's very important to keep a pulse on the market. There's no reason that we couldn't dump 10% tomorrow. There's no reason we couldn't set a new all-time high in the next week. There's no reason. Now, do I think any of those scenarios are going to happen? No, but it's important that we stay on top of the price data to make sure everything is still, in relative terms, lining up to what I've shared with you guys. So again, what we're waiting for, just to reiterate what I've said before, a break. Of course, you'll have everyone and their mother calling for alt season here. No. I've shared with you. I want to see 53 break, right? I think once 53 breaks, of course, there'll probably be a retest. It's a major area of price confluence. And that's when you're going to really start to see your alt season, in my opinion. Let's take a look at the DXY. Of course, what we want to see on the DXY is weakness. as the dollar continues to weaken, and the dollar, the way to think of this is, this Dixie index, the DXY index, is a relative of the strength in the United States dollar relative to other currencies. So one way to interpret this is, if the DXY is falling, there's strength being gained in other currencies, perhaps Japan's currency as an example, China's currency, the yen. But right now, this is exactly what we want to see. Okay, now this is still a green area of support because this is our confirming candlestick here. This is on the 2-week. We want to see this weakness. We have that inverse relationship, right? And again, if I had to pick a bottom in the dollar, if I had to pick the general trajectory of the dollar, you know, it's going to look something like this, and it's going to probably level out in this area around 92. That's kind of my area. If I had to, you know, roughly draw out, you know, how the DXY would look. So again, it's a beautiful thing about charting is it's an objective view of the market. And if you can identify cyclical natures and patterns within the chart, it's only going to benefit your investment strategy. So we took a look at the Dixie. We took a look at the Bitcoin dominance. I think it's important to assess the altcoin that everyone thinks is dead and isn't going to do anything. How is Ethereum looking? Because, guys, I've stressed to you, I don't know if you're new to the channel or how many of you here tune in every week, but one of the things that I've stressed to you is I could care less what your view of Ethereum is. What you have to understand is the importance of this asset, okay? And what it signals to the rest of the market when this thing starts getting very bullish. You want Ethereum to do well, okay? If you don't want Ethereum to do well, maybe you're a BTC maxi or you're a crypto bear, okay? Which if you're a crypto bear, you're not welcome on this channel. It's only crypto bulls on this channel, all right? You can see here, it's got to show me something. I mean, we got this descending resistance. We have these lower highs coming in. We're below the 50 simple moving average. This is on the weekly. Stochastic RSI, where are we at on the stochastic RSI? We're not even above 20 yet. So this thing really is not showing a ton of strength yet. And to be frank, I'm not feeling a high level of conviction that we're in the midst of a turnaround until you start to see, and at some point you will see a big green candle. I want to see something getting up in this range, right in between 33.80 and 39.50. When you see 39.50 break, by the way, okay, don't even wait for 4,000. When you see 39.50 break, we are going to be setting a new all-time high. We're going to be 20% away. All right, so it's good. And one thing that a lot of people are either unfamiliar with or forget, and if you've been here consistently on the channel, you'll find this is one of these things I've repeated a lot because I want to etch it into your head. A lot of people don't understand, for whatever reason, how quickly this market moves. All you have to do is literally just examine past data. Take a historical view on price data and how long we were. It's like, I was thinking about this. It's like going to, you guys know Hershey Park, all right? Hershey Park. It's like going to Hershey Park or Dorney Park or Busch Gardens or Six Flags, all right? You spend all this fucking time waiting in line to get on the roller coaster. I love roller coasters. I wish I had a kid so I could just go on roller coasters. You spend all this time waiting in line, and it's fucking boring as shit. But then you get on the roller coaster, and as long as it doesn't have too many loops, because I'll get sick on that. But you get on that roller coaster, maybe the one where your legs dangle, that one's always good. And you're sitting right in the front, it's fucking exhilarating. And it doesn't last long, right? That's what these up and down movements within the market are like. We spend such a boring, long, seemingly amount of time doing this, and then all of a sudden, really quickly, in the span of a few weeks, price has doubled, okay? That's how quickly the markets move, and that's why it's important to know what charts to look to make as best an informed view on terms of where we're at and what we can expect moving forward, and that's hopefully why you've tuned into this channel. But again, we need to see some momentum pick up in this chart. if we don't see momentum pick up shortly in this chart, then what is quite possible, and it's great for the market either way. It doesn't really matter how this pans out. It's quite possible Solana's not flipping Ethereum, by the way, but maybe in due time, but not right now. Solana may very well hit a new all-time high before Ethereum. I almost said Bitcoin, not Bitcoin. Ethereum, okay? Because honestly, if we look at this chart, and then we look at this chart, and we've spent a lot of time looking at the Ethereum BTC chart. This Solana BTC chart and the Solana USD chart is a lot more bullish than Ethereum. So there is an argument to be made that Solana could reach a new all-time high before Ethereum. We'll have to see how it pans out. It's not flipping Ethereum, but it could reach a new all-time high before it. Chart just isn't as strong. Let's get a view on how altcoins are looking. Let's take a look at Total 3. Total 3, I've explained to you in the past. I think if you want to get a true view of the altcoin market, take a look at Total 3 and take a look at others. That's because you're removing the one token that skews that chart in its direction. Ethereum comprises such a large percentage of altcoin market cap, such that when you look at Total 2, the predominant thing that's feeding into that Total 2 view is Ethereum. So you might as well just look at Ethereum. The more time goes by, I find less value looking at Total 2. Or even Total, unless I'm trying to project out some sort of theoretical market cap of where we're going. Which, by the way, be on the lookout for a new Caspa video, because that is one of the things I'm going to be doing. Anyway, Total 3 right now, I love to see that we got to close. Let's talk about price action first. We got to close above this resistance. We'll have to see how this week closes. It would be very bullish for us if we could close this candlestick right at that area of resistance or above at 600 billion. We'll have to see. But again, it's all about taking out these lower highs here. We got these lower highs coming in here, okay? So it's all about Super Marioing. Super Mario. All right, Super Mario. I don't know why I say that. I don't know really what got me into saying that. What else can I point out on the weekly? Let's take a look at price indicators. Good to see. Stochastic RSI is back above 20, which is great to see. Relative strength index is fairly neutral, slightly oversold, relatively neutral. It's just about at 50. MACD, just like a lot of the other charts, we looked at Bitcoin. Sure, Ethereum might look the same, but the MACD is beginning to flatten out here, which is great to see. We really don't want this thing to go substantially below zero. This is the zero trigger line. So it looks like as long as price can sustain itself, this MACD is going to flatten right out at about zero and begin to cross up. We'll have to see. Let's take a look at a 2-week real quick. How are we looking on the 2-week? I have a cold. I apologize. I've been sniffing all day. I've apologized when I've been on work calls. I feel like sounds like I'm a cocaine addict over here, sniffing on the thing. Stochastic RSI's got to show me something. So we see the momentum more so picking up on the weekly. We just have to be patient because, again, on those lower time frames, once we start to get bullish momentum that sustains itself, it'll bleed over into some of those higher time frames like a 2-week or a monthly. Now, the other thing I want to take a look at with you guys is others, because others is going to show us our view for everything. See, I even have it in parentheses here. It's going to give us, and this is a view that I think a lot of you would be very interested in understanding the relative strength or weakness of, because this essentially is giving you a snapshot for a lot of the tokens you're holding, the relative strength, because it's everything outside of the top 10, right? So unless your portfolio is predominantly comprised of everything in the top 10, this is the view that you really want to focus on. Now, understand, because we're removing those higher market caps, and now we're left with tokens with smaller market caps, there's more volatility in this chart, right? This chart gets a little bit more exciting and a little bit more nerve-wracking during downturns, okay? versus the total chart, which has Bitcoin and Ethereum in there in the top tens, and so it's not as sporadic. The weekly, it looks like we've got the stochastic RSI above 20, which is great. Again, not a big deal. The MACD is below 0. Okay, here's 0 up here. It's not below it by much. It's starting to flatten out, and the relative strength index is oversold at 45. So again, it's all about taking out the lower highs and beginning to build that bullish structure in the chart with the higher highs and higher lows. When will I get excited about price? I'll mark it for you. When we have a conversation, we'll come back and talk about it. So I want to see this chart get up into this area right here. Okay, and this should be red. I want to get right up into this area. Once we get up into this area, that's when shit should start getting very interesting. And again, keep in mind, as I've shared with you, how quickly this market moves. That is especially true for your altcoins. Your altcoins, and again, all you have to do is study history. I think it's one of the greatest references that I've heard to try to accurately depict to everyone what it's like for your portfolio when you're investing in crypto. A Pareto distribution. 80% of your gains will be made in that 20% of time, okay? So this 80% of time that's occurring, you're going to make about 20% of your portfolio net worth. And then that last 20%, that time frame, you're going to make 80% of whatever you're going to make in this market. It happens very quick and sharply, and that's why it's important to have an exit strategy. You know, provide you some transparency. I'll share with you a text message, a conversation I had with my brother. I said, it was just today, and I said to him, okay, well, we'll take a look at GRT. I just told him today that the thing I fear for myself, as seasoned as I am in this space, it's not being greedy when I see my portfolio increasing. It's actually being too conservative. And the reason I say that, both are fallacies, right? I don't come from a lot. So seeing my portfolio worth a tremendous amount of money is intimidating. Being honest, it's very intimidating. So I am going to be tested to make sure that I am not too conservative with my sell strategy. I have a plan in place and I execute it, right? Because I am far more likely to feel uncomfortable with what my portfolio is worth versus being greedy and just wanting it to go up. That's not going to be me. So I need to make sure, hey, I've got a plan in place. This is how I'm selling. And even if it's worth this much, you have to have a plan in place and not allow your emotions to control you. So let's take a look at GRT real quick, since apparently there's some news there. Let's see if it's pumping. No, not at all, my friend. Maybe there is some news. I will check it out, but it certainly is not doing diddly shit. In fact, it's selling off. So, all right, guys. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so that means TA Q&A. I'm glad that you guys came in here. XRP 589. I'm glad to see you guys on the live stream. Hopefully, my rundown of the weekly price action is leaving you feeling good, optimistic, bullish about the price action that we saw come in. And if everything I said resonated with you, then you should be on the same page with me that we can have a boring week this week. That's actually good for us. Some weeks we need to be boring. We don't need a lot of upside this week. We don't. If we close this week somewhere around 62.7 to 63.8, we're fucking good to go. All right, for the month of September. We'll have to Assess that close on Saturday. But guys, until tomorrow, let's all spread awareness and carry the education forward. I'll see you right back here tomorrow around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care. Probably is a bot, by the way, to your point.